Very good morning to all my dear students. Let's go with the disclaimer. It is hereby declared that the production of the said content is meant for non-commercial, scholastic and research purposes only. We admit that some of the content or the images provided in this channel's video may be obtained through the routine Google image searches, and few of them may be under copyright protection. Such usage is completely inadvertent. It is quite possible that we overlook to give full scholarly credit to the copyright owners. We believe that the non-commercial, only for educational use of the material may allow the video in question fall under fair use of such content. However, we honor the copyright holders' rights and the video should be deleted from our channel in case of any such claim received by us or reported to us. Okay, guys, so what were the topics that we have discussed in the last session? Your consent form, tomorrow consent form. Okay. To Kiran sir or permission નહીં, consent form કહું છું. Parent consent. અત્યારે છે એક કોપી તમારી પાસે? ડન રાખો, છે ને તમારી પાસે? બસ મારે જોવી નથી. I trust you. I trust you blindly. I don't want to see, but just keep it with you. So shall we start now, guys? Shall we start? Yeah. Okay. Someone is absent from your side. The girl, the tall girl. I don't know her name. I don't know her name. Thank you. So guys, yesterday we had a word about these 5 criteria, right? We have discussed this. Now moving to the next one. Now we do have only 2 topics remaining. Now we have 2 topics that we need to fulfill. That will, yeah. So only 2 topics are left now as far as the second module is concerned. The first one is value chain analysis and the second one is SWOT analysis. You guys have gone through with the SWOT analysis in your internship or in your projects. SWOT analysis of different companies. And same time, yeah, I forgot to inform you that you please refer to the documents that I have uploaded on your classroom that is related to the presentation. You have to prepare, you have to make a group of 7 to 10 people. You have to find out 2 companies from global Fortune 500 list, and you have to make SWOT analysis of that 2 company in a group. So please refer your Google Classroom. I have updated it a long way back, and submit your names. Who is your CR? Class representative? No CR? Okay. You want to be? No, see, there won't be any other responsibility. What we need, we need a list of students in a group with the company name. Division D. Okay. So थोड़े बच्चों को A में डाल दिया, थोड़े को B में डाल दिया. अच्छा, ऐसा किया. ठीक है. So you are feeling good, better, or capable enough to adopt the change? In past semester also you shifted? Pichhle?
Last 2 years very well-known experience. Really, sir.
Great. पहले कौन सा क्लास में थे? डी. फिर उसके बाद ए में.
सबसे पहले ए में था, बाद में बी में, उसके बाद सी में, उसके बाद
और अगेन. Great, yeah. अच्छा, it's good to move like a water. It's good. You can test different coastal areas and all. It's good. So थोड़ा टाइम लगेगा, but समझ जाए. So value chain analysis. Again given by the Michael Porter. Michael Porter is the same person who has given Porter's 5 forces model of competition, and the same has given the value chain analysis. Now, what do we mean by value chain analysis? Now, today, if you are purchasing Skechers shoes or you are purchasing Nike shoes, then what's the reason behind that? Somehow you feel that it's worth to spend. Or you can say it's value for money. Or you can say the product is good and it fulfills my requirement. That's why I'm purchasing this product. So now in the value chain analysis, the most important aspect is value. The first word, that is value. Now whatever the product and services you are dumping in the market, whether your customer value it or not, that you have to check it out. Imar. Your name is Imar? Yes. Thank you. I remember. Thank you. So, first of all, you have to check it out. Whatever the product and services you are going to launch in the market, you are there in the market since long back, check out whether it's having value or not. If it has, then it's fine. Continue with your processes. But if somewhere lacking is there, then you need to correct it. And that's what we can come to know from this value chain analysis. This model has been given by Michael Porter before my born, but then also we are studying. So the term value chain analysis, or you can say the value chain. Chain matlab a different kind of activities, a different kind of processes that took place in your businesses. So the term value chain describes a way of looking at a business as a chain of activities. Like, let me give you a practical example. You are business owner. Now you have purchased raw material. What will be the next process? Yes, process. Very good. You have raw material. You have input in your business. What you are supposed to do next? You are going to make a process on that raw material. What after that? Output, or you can say the finished goods. What after that? Transportation for what? Selling. For marketing and sales. And what after sales? Feedback and after sales services. This is what practically we people are doing in our business. This is the real example. Whenever your company receives input or raw material, you go with the certain operations, transform your inputs into output with the help of those operations, and later on, when the finished goods are ready with you, you sell it in the market with the help of marketing and sales. And after sales, if after sales services are required, you provide it. Very simple. But to do these activities, you need certain things. And the most important thing is firm infrastructure. Even though you have a raw material worth 100 crore rupees, but you don't have infrastructure for the same, then it's of no use. You have to sell that raw material, you have to send that raw material back to the supplier because you don't have that much infrastructure. Then apart from that, you also need manpower to manage the entire operations, to manage the entire process. And not only that, you also need technology to do so. Now, operations you can't conduct by your own. You need to have certain technologies, you need to have certain machineries and all those things. So this is what we are going to study in value chain, with the core purpose, or you can say the main purpose of value chain analysis is to creating a good value of your product or services in customer's mind. Customer must feel happy, customers must feel satisfied as and when he or she purchase your product or services. And later on, your new customer will become your regular customer. Later on, your regular customer will become your loyal customer. And someone has rightly said that your 10% loyal customers will give you 90% new businesses. And that really makes a sense in the business world. So now the value chain analysis, the term value chain describes a way of looking at a business as a chain of activities that transform inputs into output that customers value. No, whatever the product I have purchased, I am happy with it. Whatever the amount I have spent, it's value for money. And whatever the demand, whatever the requirements were there from my side, this product satisfied each and everything. So that helps to create a good value. Now, customer's value derives from three basic resources. The first one is whether your product is differentiated one. What are the extra features? What are the extra characteristics or attributes that your product does have? If it is unique one, like the Apple, like we can say the Sony camera, they come up with the mirrorless technology. While all other companies, Canon, Kodak, and blah blah blah, all other companies don't have that technology, but Sony has. So we can say that Sony's product is the different one because they have mirrorless technology in their camera, in their digital camera, and it's really very nice one. I will show you. I will show you the result with you. The pixels that guys are showing, it's really awesome. So the first one is activities that differentiate the product from competitor's product. Whatever, because after all, comparison will be there with the competitor's product only. So whatever the product you are going to sell in the market, make sure it must have little bit differentiation as compared to the competitors. As it is, it should not be there. Little bit differentiation is required. It will help to create good value. Then the second one is lower cost. If you are giving your product at a very reasonable price, competitive price, or lower price, people will purchase it. And it is, it is mindset. It is perception of a people that if we are spending much, we are expecting much too. If you are spending less, we are expecting also less. But in that less, if you provide little bit extra, then customers will be your, loyal customers. So this is how it matters. So the first one is product differentiation. If you are providing, customers will be happy with you. If you are providing good product at a lower price or reasonable price, customers will be happy with you. And the last one is whatever the needs, wants, demands that has been raised by the customers. If you are able to fulfill, then also customers will be happy with your product. And later on, gradually, your product, your services will have good value in the market. Like today, if we talk about these Bajaj fans, then we can say, yes, we are happy with the performance of the Bajaj fans. And whatever the amount we have spent, it's value for money, worth to spend. When any company get this state, value for money, it's a great success for them. So we have to go with the value chain analysis to provide any of the thing to the customer. Value chain analysis attempts to understand how a business creates customer value by examining the contributions of a different activities within the business that provides value to the customers. In business, we have to go with lots of activities, like the first one, in raw materials, you can say the inbound logistics, you can say the input, then you have to go with the processes, like operations and all, then you have to go with the outbound logistics, like finished goods, then you have to go with the marketing and sales, after sales services, from infrastructure, human resource management, technological development, procurement, and all those things. These are the different activities that one is passes in the businesses to provide good customer value. So it divides the businesses into set of activities that occur within the business, within the premises, like starts with the inputs a firm receives. Inputs can be like raw material that firm receives. Then we have to go with the process, we have to go with the operations to convert our inputs into outputs. So finishes with the firm's product or services and after sales services to the customers. As and when you receive any input, you have to go with the process, you have to go with the operations, so that you can transform your inputs into outputs, your raw materials into finished goods. Now allows for better identification of a firm's strengths and weaknesses, since the business viewed as a process. Now, if you receive raw material, you consider it as a process. If your customers are not satisfied, then focus more on the raw material as far as quality is concerned. We'll give you an example. First, let me explain the chart so that it will be very much easier to you. Okay. These are the primary activities of any firm. Any firm that has to pass from these primary activities. Now, what do we mean by primary activities? We have inbound logistics, where the inputs will be there in the organization, that is raw materials. So that is raw materials and all those things. So inbound logistics, then you have to go with the process, you have to go with the operations that will convert your inbound logistics into outbound logistics. Now outbound logistics means finished goods, ready-made goods. Now what will be the next activity? Next activity will be marketing and sales. Then after sales services. But to do all these activities, to do all these primary activities, we need some support. We need some supportive activities like firm infrastructure. Firm infrastructure is must. Today, let me say, I'm manufacturer of sanitizer. Huge demand is there in the market, but I don't have that much capability to produce, manufacture more and more, because I don't have that much infrastructure. So firm infrastructure is the basic requirement, is the supporting activities. Then human resource management, manpower is also required. How to hire the manpower, how to train them, how to develop manpower, how to compensate, and all those things. That matters a lot. Then after that, technological development in Modi, in Wakana, Dhruva, ceramic industries are there. More than 1,500 ceramic industries are registered, and out of that, almost 800 plus ceramic industries are working, or you can say active 24/7. So initially, when it started, they come up with the wall tiles. Later on, they come up with the floor tiles. In that floor tiles, they come up with the vitrified, nano charge, twin charge, GVT, PGVT. These are the different product differentiations that they guys come up in the last 2 decades. So the credit goes to the technology. Technology has been upgraded. That's why nowadays they are even producing the marble tiles, the tiles that looks like marble. No doubt it's costly, but yes, they made it possible with the help of technological development. That matters a lot to the businesses. And at last, procurement. Whatever the things you do have, how you are going to manage it, how you are going to procure it, that matters a lot. So these are the activities, primary activities and supporting activities. Primary activities like inbound logistics, operations, outbound logistics, marketing and sales, and after sales services. These are the main 5 primary activities. Then to support these activities, we have 4 extra activities, that is firm infrastructure, human resource management, technology development, and procurement. Now, on the basis of these 9 activities, we can have actual costing of the product. How much actually it costs us to prepare 1 bottle of sanitizer. We'll have the exact figure. For example, if 1 liter sanitizer cost me 90 rupees, so after that, I have to decide my profit margin. I have to decide my margin. That if it cost me 90,000, I need to sell it in 120 rupees, 120 rupees. So 30 rupees will be my margin, 30 rupees will be my profit. So this is how the entire value chain analysis works. Now in exam, you may find this entire question in 8 marks. You may find like this. They explain primary activities of value chain analysis. Then you have to write down only these 5 activities: inbound logistics, operations, outbound logistics, marketing and sales, and after sales services. Now in exam, if you find a question like this, explain supportive activities of value chain analysis, then the above 4 points: firm infrastructure, human resource management, technology development, and procurement. You are supposed to write these 4 points. Is it clear? Okay. Now let's see one by one. You have to draw this chart, whether it is for 4 marks, whether it is for 8 marks. You are supposed to draw this in your answer book. It will make examiner minds clear that students are aware about all these activities. So you will get marks quickly. Now let's see one by one. Now you have to conduct value chain analysis. Now we'll have certain question answers. Like okay, I am manufacturer of socks. I am manufacturer of socks. I received raw material. I have done with the processes and finished goods are ready. I am selling it into the market. I am also providing after sales services, and I do have basic firm infrastructure, HR, technology, and procurement. I am fine with this. Now, to create a good value in the customer mindset, I have gone with the entire process of feedback. I have gone with the market research, and in that, I come to know that I need to improve quality of my socks. I need to improve quality of my socks. So from these 9 activities, where I need to focus more? Raw material. Where it belongs? Raw material kahan pe aayega? Where it will be there? Raw material will belong to which activity? This one. Inbound logistics. Your raw material will belong to inbound logistics. So now, as per the feedback, if you want to create good value, you need to improve your quality, and that can be improved if you change your raw material. Got it? Now second one. Now, people are happy with my socks. People are happy with my socks, but what they are expecting its size is too short. You have to make a bigger size of your socks. So from this activity, where you need to change process means operations, because operations will transform your inputs into outputs. So now if you want to make a bigger size socks, you have to focus on the operations. Good, very good. Now in the third point, people are happy with your socks, but many customers are not aware that this company's socks are available in the market. So where we need to focus? Marketing and sales. Very good. So now we need to focus on marketing and sales, so awareness can be created. Good. Now people from the feedback, people are expecting some new designs in the socks, some new trendy patterns in the socks. So where we need to change? Operations plus technology. Because this time customer is demanding new patterns, new trendy wares and all. So no doubt we have to make certain changes in operations, means in process. In same time, if customers are demanding new things, we have to upgrade our technology. Like we have to upgrade our technology. Good. Now in Gujarat, my socks are really very much popular. My socks are popular. People are happy to purchase it. Now I want to expand it to the border states like Rajasthan, Maharashtra and Goa. Where I need to focus? Infrastructure. You have to increase your farm infrastructure. Then same time you have to go with the human resource management, because whatever the manpower you do have, it was sufficient for Gujarat only. Now if you want to sell your products outside of the Gujarat, you need to increase your infrastructure, you need to increase your manpower. So this is what value chain analysis. Now how to do it? We have gone through with the practical examples. Now you see this. Identify activities. So according to the feedback, you guys have identified the activities. Clear? Now on the basis of that, allocate cost. Now, when the first time customer says your socks are good, but quality is not up to the mark. So we have made certain changes in the quality, in the raw material. We have improved the quality. Now, as and when we improve, it also increase cost. Cost will also increase. So according to that, we have to allocate cost. Now thereafter, recognize the difficulty in activity-based costing per activity, whether it is inbound logistics, operations, outbound logistics and all. According to the individual activity, identify the cost. Then identify the activities that differentiate the firm from the competitors, like the quality, like the new designs and everything. So we have to also identify that activity that differentiate the firms from the competitors. Then examine the value chain. Again, examine the same. If customers are happy, then continue the same. If customers are not happy, then again go with the entire process, starting with the first one. So this is how conducting a value chain analysis in your own business, and it's really very good. It gives you sharp observations and also it indicates where you need to make certain changes. Now these are the activities. You please look into this. The primary activities, that inbound logistics, in that material, warehouses, inventory. Inventory, you guys might be aware about FIFO. Have you gone through with that? FIFO, first in, first out, LIFO, weighted average and all those things. Good. Then you do have idea about the just in time. Okay, economic order quantity, always better control. Good. Then the basic operations like production, machining, packaging. This is how we are, expecting certain changes. Then outbound logistics, the finished goods, the order processing, how you process the order and all. Then marketing and sales. તારું નામ આપી દઉં ગ્રુપ માટે, ગ્રુપના નામ તને આપે એવું કહી દઉં. શું નામ છે? હર્ષિત. ફૂલ નેમ? હર્ષિત કોટક. અમે લોવાના તમે હલવાના. Then the services like installation. I have purchased O General AC, but they are not providing installation. Then what's the use of purchasing O General? It's of no use. So installation, then repair and maintenance. I have purchased Samsung's double door refrigerator worth 1 lakh rupees. Now I find certain difficulties, but they are not providing repair and maintenance. It's of no use. Then the technical assistance. I do have Apple laptops. I find certain issues. They are not providing any sort of technical assistance. Again, it's of no use. You have to entertain buyers' inquiry, and the most important aspect is complaint. How you handle the complaints of your customers. If you sell 100 piece, 85% customers will be satisfied. 15% will put complaints. In that 15%, 5% complaints will be genuine, and you must sort out those genuine complaints at any cost. So these are the primary activities. Now these are the supporting, or you can say the secondary activities. It started with the procurement, then technology, then HR and firm infrastructure. How you procure and how you manage, that matters a lot, irrespective of your size. Minimum 7, maximum 10. Then technology development, product and process, equipment designs, computerized support system, database and all. Human resource, recruitment, hiring and firing, training and development, compensating all the personnel, or you can say the employees, perform basic infrastructure plus general management, planning, financing, accounting, tangible assets, legal supports, government relationship, and all those things. So guys, that's all about the value chain analysis given by Michael Porter in 1985. Now, the next point is SWOT analysis: strength, weakness, opportunity, and threats. But we'll keep up to this only. In the next session, we'll start with the SWOT analysis. And by the time, before we move forward, do you guys have any doubts in value chain analysis? You offline guys, is it clear? Yeah, thank you. So those who are online, any doubts? अबे धीरे धीरे ऑनलाइन स्टूडेंट्स ज्वाइन करें. Now when it's time to finish the session, we can have n number of students in the classroom. At initial stage, we may find only 2 to 5, but when we are going to accomplish, you may find 35. Okay, good. So now we'll show you one video. It is about the traveling. It is about the tourism. Have you guys heard the name of Antigua and Barbuda? It's Bermuda. It's Bermuda. So I will show you one video of Antigua and Barbuda, how they have developed it. It's long video. We'll show it in the next session. It's of 11 minutes. Let me show you the. It's related to Make My Trip. You guys have heard the name of Make My Trip?
Yes.
Yeah. So today we are going to talk about its former Deep Kalra, who has started Make My Trip. The struggle and the successes that he has enjoyed. Attendance, you guys please put your attendance in the chat box right now. And you please join through your mobile, because if I start this HDMI, the voice issues will be there. So better you join by your
Stories.in for more inspirational stories and updates from the startup world. Startup Stories in association with Look.in. Gone are the days when we had to stand in queues for booking bus or flight tickets, or even pre-book hotel rooms of our choice. With the rise in online booking websites, it has not only become convenient for customers to book tickets, but also get great discounts on them. However, many companies have entered this space but fail to capitalize and survive in such cutthroat competition. But there was one company which never gave up, held its nerve and grew steadily to eventually become the leader in online ticket booking segment. Well, the company we are talking about today is none other than Make My Trip, and this is the success story of Deep Kalra. The founder and CEO of Make My Trip. Born in Hyderabad, Deep went to St. Stephen's College, Delhi in 1987 to pursue Bachelor's in Economics, from where he went to IIM Ahmedabad for an MBA degree. After completing his MBA, he took up a banking job at ABN AMRO Bank and was really excited about his first job. But just after 3 years, a sense of incompleteness set in, and he decided that banking was not something that he wanted to do for the rest of his life. And soon, Deep quit ABN AMRO and took a break for about a year to next. Later in 1995, Deep got a lot of high-paying job offers, but he took a huge risk and joined AMF Bowling, an American company that was hoping to enter the Indian market to set up bowling alleys. However, at that time, hardly any of them back in India were interested to invest in a bowling alley. But Deep put in his blood and sweat visiting places and trying to set up bowling alleys. But the competition was just too tough, as they were pitting against big brands like McDonald's, which was making things even more difficult in terms of returns on real estate. In spite of that, Deep managed to open about 200 lanes, and most of them were in small centers. And the business for 4 years and later decided to quit. He said that it was a real experience for him, but an equally big. Later, he took up a job at GE Capital to head business development. The year was 1999, and if someone was looking to open new avenues, the internet was the obvious answer. And so, Deep met almost all the top players in the Indian internet space and helped GE grow via the internet. Later, After working for a year at GE and with some money saved in his bank, he began to get that entrepreneurial itch yet again. And likewise, he decided to quit GE Capital. Now, Deep was amazed by the power of internet and knew how hard it was to travel in India. Well, entering travel segment was not only because of the need to provide a hassle-free experience, but a clearly thought-out decision. Back in that time, e-commerce was still very alien subject, and travel looked like the right choice to opt for. Mixing the idea with a proper business model, Make My Trip was born in the year 2000. However, for Indians, the venture was too ahead of time, as people were reluctant to using their online and did not trust non-established brands. But investors and industry experts believed in Deep, and Make My Trip was successful in raising funds. However, after the dot-com bubble, the VCs refused the $1 million in funding commitments. The times were really bad for Deep. He was 31 years old with a wife and a baby, at a time when starting a dot-com website was insane and downright suicidal. But Deep and two senior managers bought back their equity in the business and had to reduce their employee strength by literally half. What was even worse was that he, along with his partners, had to let go of their salaries and decided to work without it for the next 18 months. Taking some thoughtful, stern, yet decisions, Make My Trip turned out to be one of those few companies who managed to survive the dot-com tsunami. And as time passed, the situation got better and their decision turned out to be fruitful as well. Their business now had begun to pick up and was reaching a decent customer base. Well, that is when IRCTC launched their first online business model, which enabled the Indian traveler to purchase railway tickets on the internet. This model of IRCTC was well accepted by the Indian masses and turned out to be a huge hit. Additionally, low-cost carriers had also recently entered the aviation space. Well, these chain of events opened a whole new level of opportunities for the travel market in India. It was now time for Make My Trip to broaden their portfolio. And although this venture was too ahead of its time for the Indian market, they took a risk anyway. As a first, apart from flight ticketing, Make My Trip began by offering holiday packages and hotel bookings, which was followed by their tie-up with IRCTC's online business model. This move not only increased their presence in railway ticket booking, but also gave the much-desired boost the Indian market was looking for. And in a matter of no time, the company started making really good revenues. The demand was so high that 1 out of every 12 domestic flights in India were booked through Make My Trip. Within a year, the company had acquired 200,000 happy customers. As a matter of fact, when the world was in recession in 2008, the company was crossing their 1,000 crore valuation mark. The same year, the company had also recorded profits worth $5 million, with gross revenues being approximately $500 million. Well, soon, the company brought about a lot of additions to their existing profile, be it launching their multi-city flight booking service, adding chauffeur-driven online cab rental services, or creating several travel-related apps for all types of mobile devices. They made sure to leave no table unturned. But the biggest news that came to light was their listing on Nasdaq in August 2010. This also bridged the gap between the foreign investors and Indian businesses, thus opening doors for a pool of foreign investments in India in the IT sector. Additionally, this also boosted the confidence of young entrepreneurs in India, which gave rise to a lot of startups in the future. Well, since then, Make My Trip has majorly focused on expansion and upping the revenue, which is being done through various mediums such as unique marketing strategies, product development, among others. Well, we have heard many a time that we have a lifetime to build, and Deep's journey epitomizes this statement. Ahead of his time or no, Deep is glad that he took the risk when he did. Complete devotion for more than a decade and a laser-sharp focus is what is taken for Make My Trip to reach this stage and scale to this level. Though the company faced their share of problems, they also managed to rise out of it bravely and use these hurdles to expand their reach far beyond their imaginations. Thank you so much, everyone, for suggesting us to do.
So guys, that's it for the day. Thank you so much. Enjoy your day. Take care.